大家好，我是加菲猫。
我是韩大狗，Long time no see 啊。
Long time no see ya. So today we just speak English and then we piggyback on the old translation function.
Yeah, there won't be any subtitle for this video, so it's more like a podcast.
Yeah, so I hope translation function accurately translate what we are saying, but we're
Yeah.
not too sure how much it is accurate. So please bear with us. So, long time no see. So what happened to us? So for me, I got the layoff. Yay. Layoff.
Very
Like,
predictable.
yeah, 1 month ago. And then I think I shouldn't speak about it like a detail, but I feel it, of course it's kind of sad, and there's a lot of emotion happening there internally, but it's fine. Life is like that. And then also I feel my current like a job market in my industry is really bad. Really bad. Like you can see like a layoff news every week. Oh, this company lay off 20% of the workforce, and the next week that company cut off the 100 people, yada yada yada. And on top of that, in Canada now our economic situation is really bad. And then I remember the number, like unemployment rates in Ontario is over 7%. And then in economic wise, like study wise, 4% unemployment, 4% unemployment rate is a kind of healthy level. It's good level. So it makes me feel, oh, world is getting tough to survive. Canada, of course, and then China, maybe I'm not too sure, but and then Japan, I guess so, because Japan is very famous for the company don't fire the people because there's tons of the law protect them, so it's harder to fire the employee. Even though one of my friends got fired, like lost a job, and
Really?
Yeah.
Layoffs happening in Japan?
Oh yes, because he got a kind of like a mental issue,
Oh.
and it takes time to recover. And finally, he finds job. So I guess he spent like 6 months to 1 year to find a new job. And then I feel in Canada, I'm kind of competitive background actually. I have master degree student, speak at least 2 languages, and then industry experience is like over 10 to 15 years with a proven record. And then even me or other or more competitive people get fired or layoff. So it's not because of you. It's more like a company reason. So I feel like it happening everywhere. So you need to have better education. Okay, whatever, I will go master, better school. But it's not, ensure your life is gonna be better, right? So how do you think about it?
Yeah, I've been always thinking there are some high time and low time in history and just keep repeating. And I don't know, I just have this feeling of, post World War II was like a golden era for many countries, right? Even China was a little bit behind, but we still managed to catch up later. So for the world, the curve was like, going really down during the war, right? And everything started going up after war, around 60s, 70s, and for China 80s, 90s, it goes all the way to around 2000. It reached the peak. And then, when you talk about economy going to a peak, sometimes I feel it's usually not a super good sign, because the way, actually what we're talking about economy here is we're talking about capitalism, right? So the structure of the capitalism, the outcome is always increasing the gap between the rich and the poor. So which means if you didn't get rich during the high time, you're gonna end up being poor, right? So for generation that were born after 80s and 90s, maybe your parents experienced the best time. but it's not your turn when it's your era. So the ways for a lot of young people living today is they're getting a lot of support from parents, right? Because their generation got a lot of saving. So it's already a common sense in China that when you're buying a new house, your parents paying some for you, right? And I've been always thought that's a Chinese thing, but now I saw in news in Canada like saying there's like about 40% of the young Canadian getting financial support from their family for the first purchase of the house. So I'm like, see, it's not a cultural thing. It's
And
just
now,
it's
like,
a fact. It's a
And many like even Canadians start leaving the Canada because the cost of living is too high than what you get by working, right? And then also like it leads me to think now everyone need to make very huge effort to survive. Okay, you achieve this one. Okay, you need to have another certification to solidify your position in the company or whatever, right? It's kind of rat race. So I feel like, oh my gosh, this generation or this world is getting tough. You cannot stop. If you stop it, maybe you can survive, but may not. Who knows, right? It's more like a chances. Like you are gonna have bad moment with the higher chance if you don't make effort what you're having, I feel like then, oh my gosh, where is our life?
But I feel like like what I said, it's just the facts, right? It's a factual things that happening around us. So there's no way you can stop because when you're in a good time, even you put some effort, you can succeed in something. But during the hard time, even hard working doesn't guarantee you any.
Yeah, so
like,
I feel like
good stuff.
many stuff is like try to increase your chances get success or survive.
Yeah.
So it's not the definitive answer.
So for me, the way to survive this, so I'm not even talking about success during this period of time. For me, I think the key word for like this generation would be survive.
Right?
Yeah, just you're not even trying to make big success like your parents' generation. You just try to live your surreal life with a minimal, wishes in life. Like some people even ditch the wish to, get married or have kids because of the financial situation. So I feel like it's really about surviving. And when talking about surviving, there are different components like foods and daily life, right? And then there are also like mental components, right? You need to stay mentally healthy. So I think most of us today are not really facing the risk of not having enough food to survive. But I think mental issues become the biggest issue for this generation to survive, because people don't get happy just by eating foods and making themselves food and surviving. They also need to find the purposes and hopes to survive the life, right? That will be something I call mental health, but that's something we are seriously missing right now. It's like the motivation to survive, the motivation to live through your life.
Right. And then I guess I told you like recently I watched like some talk show about Japanese and Chinese talk about like a culture difference, that kind of stuff. And then one guy mentioned about like some special district in Beijing. There's a very famous for the good education. So people living there, almost everyone go to the Qinbei, Tsinghua Beida, and then even you just grab some kid in the street and asking a super high level question like. Master degree student can answer. That's kind of level. But like just kids, like 10 years old kids could answer that question because their education is super great, high level. But after they successfully answer the question, but they said, "Oh, I'm not enough." Oh my gosh, you guys are best of the best regarding the study, or But it makes people feel like sorry, right? I'm not the best.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
I think that's what's happening in South Korea as well.
Yeah, when you
like
can
you
feel
see,
better than
you see good students who are very promising going to the best university, like what they call Sky, right? In Korea, but they end up suicide. So I feel like again, I'm saying I think the way to survive for this generation to survive is the mental health.
Yeah.
Because no matter you go through the best condition to become a success person or just living the most ordinary life, everybody need to be mentally healthy
I
to
feel
survive.
we are still lucky because we are like old enough. So okay, even shit happen in my life or in your life, maybe we can figure out because our life is like that, or we experience similar like levels, like toughness, and then try to mitigate the damage by ourselves, and then try to find a way in the positive way to make things better, right? But if you face this world as an immature young guy, like aged around 20 years to 30, it could be tough.
Yeah, of course. Because one thing I feel, which is like a one journey everybody goes through in their life, is that the realization of life is meaningless by itself. Because when you're younger, you're always looking for purposes and meanings of life, right? And then because you believe that something is supposed to exist in there, like everybody came to this world with some sort of mission or with some purposes. So there's inherent meanings of why I was being born to this world. But when you're getting older, everybody start to going through this like life crisis of realizing, no, the world will just function as fine as without you.
Yeah.
So you start to realize, no, I was not born to this world to complete any mission or anything. It's totally random. So that's when you start to have this like I would say not identity crisis, but more like a life crisis of searching for the meaning of life. But when you're getting older, you learn how to cope with that feeling. So it's like, yeah, I know my life doesn't have any meaning or purposes, but I'm fine. I'm okay living a life without any purposes. It's okay. I'm just
still
I'm just
do
swagging
whatever
here.
I can do, right?
Yeah. But when you're younger, it's hard to accept the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you make a huge effort to get something you are thinking which is success, like good surely.
Yeah. Especially the world teaches you in a way like this is the only way that your life had the meaning.
Yeah, that's tough. So I feel like now after I got laid off, I have more time to think about things, right? I feel like okay, don't rush.
Yeah, right? Because,
I feel I was rushing because mentally I was tired when I was working. Now I have be myself and just to chill a bit.
Yeah, because I feel like again, it's like what I just said, keeping yourself not hungry, having food to survive, and if you could live with your parents, you get a shelter. That's a fundamental components for one's life to live, right? So if you had that all, you can basically live through your life just fine, as long as you don't die and you have shelter. And I think most of us can do that.
I feel because we are old. Because
Either by ourselves or depends on parents.
Because our like a desire to buy something is very little.
But I mean, young people also have a low desire purchasing
Maybe
stuff.
they want to have more like a fashionable clothes, good car.
No, I don't think so. I think now even young people are minimizing their desire for materials to just live through their life. But I feel for a lot of unemployed young people's way of living right now is to live with their parents. I saw that in Canada, but I saw it more in China. Because basically you just live with your parents the same way they raise you as a kid, right?
Some Chinese folks we met in Canada who went back to China, I don't think they find job just to live with parents or whatever. I just think they are working.
Yeah, it's not just like young kids. I know 30 years old people who in my age living with parents and have their own family to live with parents as well. So I mean, I'm not judging whether it's good or bad, but everybody,
this is what it is.
Everybody will live through their life without like hungry to death or whatever. So in this condition, it's all about what kind of mindset we are carrying on living through
Yeah,
our life,
I,
right?
I agree. So I feel like now we are okay. Well, actually, like we have enough saving and then a place to live and then food, money. We have money to eat, and then I just read a book.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel
just enjoy the things I want
yeah.
to
So I
do.
feel the major difference from us and the young people is the way we're living our current life is kind of based on over saving and some investment money. But for young people, it's to live with parents. And sometimes even my parents are throwing those proposals like, if you guys ever want to move back to China, we can live together. We still have your bedroom. We four just live together happily. You guys don't have to pay anything.
Well, it's also
And
good.
yeah, I feel it's like typical Chinese
Yeah.
parents way of thinking. Like, I know the world is tough, but you can always come back
Yeah.
home, and let's just live through our life. And
That's
yeah, that's also a way to survive, honestly. If you don't judge, like, oh, you are like a fool or die, you depends on your parents. Like, let's do not judge this. Everyone's gonna
Yeah,
live
right.
through your life.
I feel like one thing we shouldn't like lost is just should have some like a positive mentality. Oh, tomorrow is gonna be better. And then that's why I do a bit of effort. That's mindset. I don't think worse to lost.
Yeah, I think that's one of the positive mindset and
But don't expect too much.
yeah, and I think in my case, my positive mindset is do not judge any way to live through one's life. So everybody has a different way to live through their life, right? Some trying to be financially independent, but doesn't get married because they try to save money, right? Okay, that's respectful. And some people choose to live with parents, right? That's I can respect that. And some people choose to marry somebody who have money and be a full-time housewife
Yeah,
or
it's
house
also
husband. Yeah, I can respect
yeah.
that. So anyone, as long as you live your life and adjust your mental health,
Right. Yeah.
like that's a great way to live through your life.
Right. And then now we have a lot of like free like entertainment. Like you just go to the Shugong. You can find a good book. And
Yeah,
then just
yeah.
go to the online and play game, which is free. Don't spend money on game, but it's you can have some good friend, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I feel like this. So like we start doing this kind of podcasting style. Let's see where we can go.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that I know we're not talking in the best English. And we have accents, that's for sure. But I think we use some simple English words and it's just easy for people to digest and to understand. So some people might think that would be a easier material for them to study English.
Yeah, it's
So-
just like there's tons of good English speaker, but sometimes you wanna hear something you want to hear, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then if it's English, it's good, right?
Yeah, and also another reason I proposed us to do this podcast thingy is I want our conversation to be archived because
I'm gonna die soon.
no, it's not because you're gonna die soon. It's more like like this time I went back home and I find my parents had this like office room, right? Full of books and albums, photo albums as well.
Oh, I
So when you read through those albums, you see, my childhood history, my parents' history, the history of the family, right? But think about it because it was not digital, right? So if one
So
day,
it's our diary.
my parents passed away and I have to clean up all this, do I carry all those like hundreds of photo books with me, or should I burn it? Like, if I burn it, the family history is gone, right? So I really appreciate how we had the technology that everything goes digital, so you can archive everything so easily. So maybe for us, our family history, like over
On
Bilibili
the cloud,
account, right?
on the cloud,
So it's no matter how many years pass, we can always come back to watch. Oh, that's how we were like 5
Oh, you
years
don't
ago.
have wrinkle and your hair is still black.
Yeah,
yada,
like
yada.
I'm still going back to watch over old videos from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually pretty fun. Like, you could observe how you were like at the time. So for example, when I went back to our first ever video. Well, like where we went to that weird park, Happavilla, together in Singapore. And you in the video was like super unhappy, which is like totally the opposite from who you are right now. I was like, what happened to you at the time? Like why you were so grumpy the whole time? But it makes me wonder. So I thought it's just really cool to have such a way to archive. Yeah.
All right. So that's it for today.
Yeah. So that's our first episode. We'll try to make this as often as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as all translation works
Right.
at some
Hopefully.
level. Yeah.
Right.
All right. See you.